Welcome to Big Life Weekly Series, where we empower high achievers to break free from limits, unlock their natural potential, and live a big life. I'm your host, Robert Acosta, and each week we will explore the strategies, mindsets, and tools you need to thrive, not just in your professional career, but in every aspect of your life. Whether you're a leader looking for a better balanced life, an entrepreneur aiming for sustainable success, or someone ready to take the next step toward your best self, this podcast is your space to grow, reflect, and take action. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, I'm Robert Acosta. I'm with Erica McBeth from McBeth Marketing in Arizona, USA. Welcome, Erica.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Well, let's jump right away and start showcasing your business. Erica, can you give us a 90-second overview of what your business does and why you got into it?
Yes, so McBeth Marketing is a full service advertising and marketing agency that is located in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're really designed to help small business. And the reason I got into it is because I've been in advertising and marketing for, let's say, 30 years. I think it's more than 30 years at this point. But I've been around, I'm an old dog, I've been around a long time. And most of the time throughout my entire career, I've been sitting down with small business and these mom and pop companies that are just kind of startups. A lot of times I would sit down with them and I'd be there to help them with this much stuff, but they need help with this much stuff.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, who's helping these people? And I finally just decided, I guess it must be me.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, so what do you enjoy most about your work in advertising and marketing?
You know, there's never a dull day. There's always something going on and it's always something different. So, if you're looking for a field where it kind of keeps you on your toes, I am always on my toes. I'm always moving and it's fun. I mean, like, who doesn't love it? Like, there's some days that I just spend a day on a video shoot and I may not be in front of the camera, but I look around and I think, how cool is my job that I just get to sit here and do this?
Yeah, I think working with people with the different specialities and form a team to accomplish something, it's amazing, right?
Well, the thing I love about McBeth Marketing in particular is we get really, really close to our clients. So we really do become like a partner in their businesses. And because we're a partner in their businesses, I get to see like all the stuff. Like I get to see like the things they're doing really well. I get to see the things that they're maybe not doing so well on. And I feel like it gives me a really unique perspective on them as people, as business owners. But it just really gives me a good idea on what is a good way to run a business. Because if I can see something that works in one area, a lot of times someone may need that in their business too. So it's nice to be able to kind of have a broad scope so that you can talk to people about this is what works, this is what isn't working right now.
Yeah, in a way, you are part of their team. You're part of that business in that moment when you're working with your client, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, we really get to a point where we really care about these people too. It's not just really like a business relationship, and I am not the best about boundaries. So usually our clients really become more like our friends. I mean, friendly in a business relationship, in a professional way, but enough so that I truly care about things that are affecting them and that are happening to them in their personal lives.
Right. So having said that, how do you define success in in the work you do?
Well, if our clients are succeeding, then we're succeeding. So if they are busy, if they're bringing in new business, if they're watching their business grow, that's success to us. It's not necessarily a monetary value. In fact, when I first started McBeth Marketing 4 years ago, I sat down with a little girl who I'm part of the Big Brother Big Sister program. So there's this little girl that's been my little sister for the last 9 years, and she and I sat down and we painted little signs. And there is a sign that sits right above my desk that says humanity before business, because I believe when you do the right things by people, the money will come.
Yeah, definitely. You focus on people, you focus on growing people, and of course, the reward is going to be a monetary reward. It's kind of a law, right? The law of compensation.
Absolutely. I mean, it's reciprocity. When you give something, you get it back.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it works. And I think too often we think marketing is all about the analytics, about, you have your reporting and you think, oh, okay, well, I'm looking at my reporting, but what does all of that stuff really mean? And I think what really differentiates us in the marketing scheme of things is we believe that marketing is really threefold. You have to have your creative approach, which should be about a third of what you're doing. You should have your analytical approach, which should be about a third of what you're doing. And you should have a psychological approach, so that you're actually connecting with real human beings and you're connecting with them in an authentic and human way, because that's what people respond to. And when you do that, you're really starting to drive word of mouth advertising, which has the highest return on investment that is around. Everybody knows that, but not everybody knows how to drive that word of mouth advertising.
Right. Yeah, and marketing and advertising is a huge, huge industry that is evolving. So I'm just curious, what is the biggest challenge you see in your industry, and how are you solving that for yourself, your clients, colleagues, and referral partners?
Well, I mean, we do things differently. Like anybody that works with us says, "Oh, you guys seem very different from everybody else," and there's a reason for that. I usually run into two different types of marketing companies. Like sometimes they're like the small one and two man shops, or there may be a larger company. The larger companies are always trying to scale in a way that they're trying to do everything so cookie cutter that they're not really differentiating people's like their competitive edge, what they're best at. And when a market is saturated with a lot of people that all kind of look the same, how do you know who to choose? And so I think that that's a really big problem that the marketing industry really hasn't addressed. And so I think that there are a lot of people that are in the industry that know how to do a lot of the things, particularly the digital things on the back end, which we do need to have those people that know how to do it. But what they're really ignoring is they know how to do the stuff, but they don't know how to sell stuff. And if you don't know how to sell stuff, that's really what marketing should really be doing.
Yeah, I've always said that marketing is about telling a story, telling your story, telling the story you want people to know about you, about your product, about your company. So, in that matter, how do you choose your clients, or who is your ideal client? At what significant outcomes can they expect when they work with you?
So our ideal client is, I always say, small fish grow into big fish. And so I like turning small fish into big fish. And so that's what the ideal outcome would be, is that they grow and they change. And when they grow and they change, then their relationship with us grows and they change. But here's the thing. When small fish become big fish remember. And they remember who actually helped them to grow and change. And so what we're finding now is we're finding some of those businesses that have grown and changed over time. They've become more and more reliant on us because they've trusted us with that growth. We have seen it all of the way through. And we're finding that those small fish that started off small are not quite so small anymore.
Right, and I guess that small fish is it's still there. It's like a little kid that it's always in us. So you can see that small kid or that small fish, even though they are big now, but you're connecting with those people that are the same, just evolved, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just human relationships, right? Like, we grow because they're growing. And that's the way that it really should be.
Yeah. Well, you know how nowadays, as you said, more people are actively seeking solutions to achieve better outcomes. So, what would you say makes you unique in the way you help them achieve those outcomes?
So, the way that we look at marketing is not just an individual strategy. A lot of people will say, oh, well, we're just going to do digital marketing. Well, we don't necessarily just look at it as one individual strategy. You should have a string of branding that goes through everything that you do. And it sounds like a very, very easy thing. It's incredibly different when you're talking about multiple platforms, you're talking about different types of people that are working on things. But if you don't have that branding, you're not building up that thing in people's head where they can put you in a box so that when they need your product or service, they can recall that really easily. And they say, oh, I've heard of them before. This is the company that I want to go with. That's the ultimate outcome that you actually want to have. And a lot of people aren't really focused on that. They have like different logos, different color schemes, like nothing really looks the same. And when you're doing that, you're actually hurting your marketing message because you're not getting like that continuous thread that goes all the way through it.
So with branding, you mean you need to find that identity that distinguish that company or that product or that message only for them, and then keep that identity all the way through, right?
Correct. And I like to tell people really where you need to start in your marketing process is number one, you need to know who you are.
Who you are. Yeah.
Need to know what you do better than your competition. And you also, and this is the one that's the gut check for everybody, you need to know what your competition does better than you. Because if you can overcome that objection of what your competition does better than you, then you've probably won the game because they're probably not paying attention. Because I guarantee you that there will be times when people are considering you and your competition. If you know how to overcome those objections in your marketing, in your branding, in your sales strategies, and it's a consistent message all the way through, and they don't feel any different from the first person they talk to the last person that they see. If you've got that moving all the way through your company, guess what? You're probably going to win the majority of the business.
Yeah, definitely. And well, there are some people that say, well, other strategies. Don't look at your competition. Just create what it's unique in you, and then you can outstand anybody, or maybe create a new industry. Well, not an industry in terms of the product. So that's another approach, but I think it's.
And there's truth in that. And there's truth in that because you want to be authentic to who you are. And I've seen people in the same exact categories have two different marketing strategies and they both worked. And that's fantastic. But do what you do. But it also doesn't hurt to turn around and just see what they're doing so that you know how you can differentiate yourself and make yourself different.
Yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely. So I know it's fascinating, this marketing and advertising industry, and as it's been evolving. What can you tell us about some strange or funny incident that you have experienced while working in your company?
Well, like I feel like it's a circus every day. But I do have this one client, and they're a small client. They actually own a small farm down in Chandler, Arizona, and they make this fabulous goat milk soap that they actually milk their own goats and make the soap from the goats on their farm. So when I go in to see them, a lot of times, I'm just sitting down at their family table and we're sitting down there and just talking. And I think the funniest thing is one of their cats is obsessed with me and we do not know why. And the second I walk in the door, the cat always comes and is usually like sitting like on my notepad or inside my purse or on my lap. And I just think it's the funniest thing because I think who else does this? Like, who else does this happen to in a regular day?
Well, actually, you're now going beyond human relationships. You have animal relationship as well.
I know, and I think it's so funny because the funniest part is I'm not really a cat person. I'm really more of a dog person, but this particular cat is a little obsessed with me. So I've got a lot of pictures of that cat like sitting in my lap and like inside my purse. And honestly, if she turns her back, I might just take the cat home with me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but are those moments that make our day, right? And keep us going, or all those little things that really matters the most.
Another one of my clients is actually a group of charter schools. And one day I happened to be on campus. And as I'm on campus with the assistant principal, there was a line of students that were actually walking towards us. And as they were walking towards us, some of the little kids who were probably like kindergarten age were telling her, they were like, "You look so pretty today. You're so beautiful." And I mean, like, you're standing here and it's the most adorable thing you could possibly imagine. And I'm thinking, I don't get that every day. And I told her, I was like, I'm a little envious of you that you get to be told how beautiful you are every day. I was like, that doesn't necessarily happen in my office every day.
Oh yeah, well, definitely working with kids or being with kids, little kids especially, that they are pure, pure diamonds, that really honest and 100% human. The real human that we need to be, rather than to be just derailed of what we really want. So yeah, that's amazing working with
It's
kids.
it's those little moments, like those little moments. I mean, that's the part that makes the job worthwhile.
Yeah, and of course, in your business, with having many entrepreneurs like me and you, we are connected with a lot of kind of people, different people all the time, and I think it's part of what I like to be entrepreneurs, rather than just working in one company with the same people. We have the opportunity to know different industries and
Mhm.
different kind of people, and of all ages, as you just mentioned, even a little kid, right?
No, and it's fun. It's so much fun.
Must has to be fun because it's your life. Your life is two-thirds of your life at least is dedicated to what you do.
Mhm.
So you gotta have fun. So what do you see as the coming trends within your business or the marketing industry, and how are you staying on top of that?
So, I don't like to make predictions because I like to live kind of like where we are. I think there are too many people that are like, "Oh, well, this is coming," and everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and it's sort of like Y2K all over again. Like,
Right.
recently I was actually saying, people would come up to me and they'd say, "What about TikTok? They're going to take down TikTok," and I was like, you know what? We're going to deal with it when it happens. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to deal with it what's going to happen. And I was like, oh, it looks like it's about to go down. Think it's about to go down. I think
Right.
it's going down. And it was so funny because it was so anticlimactic. And I mean, it still may go down. I don't know. But it was so anticlimactic. But I remember telling people the whole time, I was like, do you guys remember Y2K, how we made a big ado about nothing? And then it was nothing? And that felt very much like what just happened with TikTok. So I don't like to make a lot of predictions. I will say what we're kind of keeping an eye on, what we're seeing more and more of is people are starting to make their searches in different ways, which means that they're not always going to Google anymore. You've got the younger generation that is much more likely to search for things they're looking for on social media. AI is adding a whole new element to that, that there are some people that are now searching for businesses in an AI format. And we're starting to hear about some people that are being found via AI versus via Google, which is interesting. So, one of our predictions is we think people may start to gravitate towards different ways to search things. But it hasn't happened yet. And with 90% of all searches still being done on Google, it's still a force to be reckoned with. So, is Google going to change? Are they going to buy up some additional companies to see what that happens? I have no idea. But I do believe that the way we consume search and also social media may be changing. And we'll just deal with it as it comes along.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it, and live in the present, and be your best with what you've got right now. That's, yeah, that makes completely sense.
Yeah.
So since you jumped from being working in corporations, I guess, to being an entrepreneur, so it's embedded in that path of being an entrepreneur that you fail sometimes, or many times. So what would you say is the biggest failure or challenge that you have faced to this point in your life, and how has that shaped the way you do business today?
So, as you're asking me this question, I had a whole different answer planned for this. But my my original answer was I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm a person that has struggled with mental health challenges. I've suffered from depression on and off throughout my life. Um, have found that in really like understanding why I personally go through those things and learning how to connect with others in a way that is meaningful to me, it has made me a more powerful marketer. Because I understand human psychology so much better than just doing the things, right? But I think probably one of the biggest challenges that we faced in our company, it happened a couple of years ago. There was 1 month that we lost a tremendous amount of business, and it was just by the way, not our fault. It was definitely some leadership issues, some people that kind of like, there were some clients that were not doing the things they really should be doing and needed to be moved off our plate. Anyway, it just happened they all came at the exact same time. And what I found and what I really learned about that was you always have to be growing, because what really saved us is there were some big dollars that came out of those accounts, but we didn't really just stay and just focus and work on them. We were consistently bringing in new clients into the pipeline and working with them, so that it was able to really sustain the business. If we had not had that, I've heard way too many marketing companies that have said, hey, we had this huge chunk of business, we were all working on it, and then suddenly, through no fault of our own, it went away. And when that happens, it's going to happen to every marketing company. But you have to sustain yourself with new people coming in. Those small fishes. It's not always about the big fish that sustain you. Sometimes it's about having a lot of small fish around that you can rely on, that you can actually help and grow and move and change. And that's really the thing that was going to that sustained us through that.
Yeah, I think it's a right, I would say, a right way of thinking. So I know we stated that we don't care about the future, we live in the present, but you have to have objectives and goals and even a purpose. So talking about that future, what is the next growth area for you personally and for your business?
So right now we're in the process of scaling. So it started out with just me in 2021, and now there are 8 of us, including me. That means that we're all differentiating in some different roles, and we're growing. And so what I am doing more of now than ever before is I'm really more of the face of the company. I'm still the one kind of driving out. I'm the one that most people see. But I have this awesome team that is behind me that supports me all the way. And when I say they are an awesome team, I mean, they really are an amazing team, and they teach me new things every single day. And so, because I feel like I have this really solid foundation behind me, I believe that that's really going to be what helps propel us into the future. Because without this amazing team that I've built over this amount of time, I don't think I would be, or McBeth Marketing would be where it is. It's not just me, it's about that amazing team that I work with.
Yeah. Everything is in collaboration. I always say that's why humans rule the world, because we have this capacity, this unique capacity to collaborate, which not any other species has, at least not globally. Maybe in little places in the world, yes. But we globally, and with all the connections that we have on the digital world, we can collaborate even with people that we don't know and we don't even dare. So I think,
and it makes us stronger. It makes us better.
Definitely.
If you are not collaborating with others, you are not the best that you can be.
And you're not growing, as to your point. And I think that's a key. Even in it's innate in human beings that we want to grow. And wherever you are, there's something inside you saying, I can do more. Or if I'm still alive, I can do more, and I want more. Most of the time, that's what propels you to do something else or to do more, right?
And that's what makes life fun. That makes it fun and interesting, and how we get to do all these new fun things.
Yeah, you're right. So let me ask you this weird question.
Okay.
If you could have lunch with one person, living or dead, who would it be and why?
See, I don't know that I necessarily have an answer for this, but I will tell you this. So in 2018, I made a New Year's resolution to go out, meet, sit down, and have a conversation with one person I didn't know every week for a year. And it kind of changed my life. I actually wrote a book about it called 52 New Friends. But the first book that I ever did was a novel all the way back in 2011. And when I wrote that book, I used to have a lot of people that would come up to me and say, hey, I have this amazing life. I was wondering if you'd be interested in writing my life story. Well, maybe not so much now, but in 2011, a book was going to take you probably about a year to write. And so I would always very graciously decline and say no. But in my head, I was thinking, there cannot be this many people that have an interesting life. But when I really started just sitting down and talking to people without an agenda, just talking to them, what I found is the person standing next to you probably has this amazing story that you have never heard, and you will not know unless you ask. But if you ask, they are willing to open up and tell you the weird, quirky things that happen to them. And people are so amazing. We're all like snowflakes. We all have this little beautiful thing inside, and you just have to bring that out of people. So if the question is, who would you like to sit down and have lunch with? I don't know, but it's probably just whoever is sitting next to me, because I guarantee you, if I don't know them, or even sometimes if I do know them, they have amazing things about them that unless you sit down and focus on it and really try to pull that out of somebody, you won't ever know.
Yeah, I've always said that we don't know each other. Even in your family, within the closest people to you, that we don't really know really who we are, what our desires, our purpose, what really drives you do what we do. So you have to ask. And
We think we know, particularly the people closest to us. We think we know, but when you sit down and you really just open and you talk to people, you find that they tell you a lot of different stuff, and usually it's not the people that are closest to you, because the people closest to you care about you, and they're afraid if they say something that you dislike that you might judge them, and that's going to hurt. But with a stranger, they will tell you all kinds
anything.
of
Yeah.
crazy things, because if you leave, then it doesn't hurt so much. You didn't really have anything invested in the relationship anyway.
And even for them, it's like a therapy. Someone talk about what you're thinking or what you're feeling with some strangers. Maybe that's the way the psychologists work, right? It's liberating something that you had inside that you don't know who to talk to.
And
So
just to tell people that they're normal. Sometimes when people have told me things and they think it's going to be so shocking to me, and I'm like, that's pretty normal to me. And they're like, what do you mean that's normal? And I'm like, a lot of people, like, if you really search it out and you go talk about it, like, you find that a lot of more people are like you than you think. But it's
yeah,
just about opening it up, and we all have this thing where we don't want to be judged. And
exactly.
so, we probably should stop judging people so harshly and be a lot more open to just listening what they're going through. Because if you really listen to what people are going through, I've noticed there are really no good people, there are no bad people. There's
Yeah,
just people in between.
yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it was the Dalai Lama saying, we all as human beings want exactly the same things. We all want to be
We do.
happy and avoid suffering. That's it. That's the main thing that everyone wants. The only difference between us is the story you were told. The difference, but we want exactly the same. So, and yes, being normal is just being you. So, in a way, well, I migrated to Canada. I'm from Mexico. So, I migrated to Canada like 15 years ago. And the problem was that I didn't fit in Mexico. So I came here to fit in. And then I realized that no, the problem is that I don't need to fit in. I need to stand out. I need to find what you say, that unique thing that is you and only you. And that's why it transformed the way I look at life. And I completely agree with you that every single person has something unique, has a story that is worth telling it. So I think it's amazing what you do when we talk to people, and doing it every day. Maybe I'm going to start doing that myself. Thank you.
Do it once a week. Like you like once a day may drive you crazy. But once a week, and honestly, like if you just did it for 6 months, it would probably change you. I did it for a year. That was maybe a little too long because then I have all of these people that I'm trying to keep up with in an authentic way, and you cannot keep up with 52 people. Like it's just so hard. But to your credit, I will tell you, I don't really fit in either. Like I make my living out of putting people in boxes.
Yeah.
I hate being put in a box, but I know that that's how people remember things. So, like, be that unique, whatever version of yourself you are, if that's uniquely you, that's the most beautiful version of yourself. And so many people like judge that and say, oh, but nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see me. But really, just be who you are. That's when you're at your most beautiful.
Yeah, no pressure at all. So yeah, well, it's been amazing. So what is the best way for people to contact you if they'd like to work with you or discuss referral partnerships?
Oh, absolutely. So probably email is going to be the best way. And you can actually just type in info, I-N-F-O, at McBethMarketing.com. I'm probably going to be the one that answers it, but it does actually pop into my email, but that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Okay. Well, it's been great talking to you. I truly enjoyed our conversation, Erica. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking the time, Robert.
Thank you for joining me on Big Life Weekly series. I hope today's episode gave you the insight, inspiration, and tools you need to move closer to the life you're meant to live. Remember, true success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you feel while you achieving it. If you found value in our conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with others who are ready to embrace their big life. Until next time, stay focused, keep growing, enjoy life, and break free.